Ladies and gentlemen, the So What Morning Show back in the building. Now, you know we got a lot of stuff to promote in a short amount of time because today's topic is exceedingly important. I really want to hear from everybody that's listening. Call us, 855-878-4652. The number to dial again is 855-878-4652. You know the routine. We have to promote black businesses during this segment. Weed juice. Y'all gotta get some of this weed juice. Weedjuice.com. I think there is a code. What kind of juice you got over there, Kevin? Exactly. That's why
it's not the watermelon that I'm about to get in a minute.
You bring somebody from the other set over here. This is Weed Juice building right now.
Gang banging, homie. Juice banging.
So go to weedjuice.com. I think there's a 5% discount. You guys should do that right now. Go to the website, type in Zowat Show. 5% discount, or I don't know how much. I think it's a 5% discount, something like that. Please continue to support. Did you pull up the website? Oh, great. Now let's move on really quickly. Arise Hospitalities. Got to support them. Black-owned business. Doing the same business that Office Max and Staples. Go support them. I'm going to keep supporting these brothers until the wheels fall off. Elephant. Type in Zoe Williams, Zoe What Morning Show. You get a 20% discount. I'm not getting paid for none of this. I love these dudes, though. They doing some really fly stuff. Polo, on the level of Polo. But black owned. Made, handmade out of New York. Yeah. You want the shirt? Sorry. Also, go to blackmastery.com. I can't emphasize this enough. Download Veronica Conway's NLP program, the Black Mastery program. Rita G, you did this program, didn't you?
Yes. Oh, I love it.
It's retarded, right?
Totally.
I'm just saying. Yeah. Get the Black Mastery program right now. Also, what else we got? Oh, Rita G!
Hi.
Via Skin Science. Tell them about it.
Well, if you like natural products that really work, that don't have the unnecessary harsh burden of all those nasty chemicals, then viaskinscience.com is for you.
Ooh, yeah. Hey, she sent me a bunch of it. It works.
Yes.
You know, normally I'm really greasy. She sent me some kind of lotion. What is that lotion?
Well, the moisturizer that I have for men, it is like an anti-shine moisturizer. So it gives your face like a matte appearance.
I wasn't looking like a penny. Yeah. I came out cool. Right? But hey, it's real good stuff, man. So support her via Skin Science.
Yes.
Dr. G. Christ, he's got a new book coming out in October. Talking to Crazy. I know a lot of you motherfuckers need this book right now. Talking to Crazy. Let's see. You got, this isn't the promotion on the back, is it? No. Trust me. You guys got to get this book. Dr. G has released another one, and he had an interesting story about why he created it. Why did you create this book, Doc? There's a lot of crazy people around you, huh?
Well, you know what I discovered is
he did it because of us. He'd come to the show. He'd been on the show for 2 years. We've been talking hella shit. And then he was like, you know what? You motherfuckers don't listen. Y'all motherfuckers crazy. And then he came up with Talking to Crazy. Us.
You know what it is? And we talk about this on the show. We have a lot of stuff that people need but nobody wants. And it's hard to give people stuff they need but they don't want. And so my book, Just Listen, even though it became the top book on listening in the world, you know, by word of mouth, still in America doesn't want to listen. They want to be listened to. So I figured I got to come up with something that people got to have. And so Talking to Crazy is something people got to have, because anyone who fancies themselves as you know, one iota rational says, I got people like that. And so there you go.
Good stuff, man. And if you haven't gotten it already, Just Listen, already international bestseller.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And the homeboy, I see you over there.
You ever seen
With your
me,
little
Mr. laid out on the ground
with
after
your little
boxing?
fraudulent ass juice.
Hey, Chris, where's that picture at? Show Mr. Mouthy over here, laying on the ground after two punches.
It was only 2? It was more than 2 punches. Come on, man.
5, my bad.
It was 5 punches?
5 punches. 5 punches, maybe 6.
Come on, man. We ain't got that kind of time.
Yeah, all right. Booty Boxing Home System. Go ahead to udemy.com, udemy.com/bootyboxing, and the promo code is ZoWhatShow, and that's free for the ZoWhatShow. So go ahead and get that. And if you think it's just about shaping your booty, it's not. It's a full body workout. It's just focused on the butt. So go ahead and try to work out. If you can get through that, then you're a gangster. So
no, seriously, it's a real deal.
Is it DVD?
No, it's on that website. Just go ahead and punch in the promo code, and you can.
And he'll walk you through the whole workout. It's dope.
2 months.
It's real dope. Let's play that. The relationship dismount. July 1st. It's gonna be a great book, man. I'm excited. I really want you guys to get behind it, support it. Pre-order. Go get your pre-order going right now. IamZoeWilliams.com. Click shop. Pre-order your copy right now. The Relationship Dismount, How to Stick the Landing When Leaving a Toxic Relationship, the breakup and makeup book. It's crazy. Can we see that video? In chapter 10, we talk about the difference between being embittered, embattled, or embittered. So, if you're embittered, of course you're holding on to things. You're resentful. You're resistant. If you're embattled, you're fighting. No, I don't accept that. I don't want that. But if you're open and you're allowing the process to unfold and flower within you and beyond you, you have an opportunity to become embittered. And chapter 10 goes into detail on how to stop being embittered, how to stop looking for the win by being embattled, and how to evolve and expand to a space of embitterment. I mean, it's an incredible work, man, and I'm excited about it.
Why is a white guy like me co-hosting a black radio show? I think toxic relationships cause you to take poor care of yourself. That if you can recognize danger, if you can pause, if you can take some breaths, refocus, and engage, you might be able to dodge a bullet that you're going to send or coming towards you. One of the things that men don't get is that often women need to vent first to clear their mind.
Dr. G.
Anyway, can we run the video?
There's something else, as you said, too, that if there's an argument, you have to resolve it within 48 hours.
That's so you don't bring in something from the past. If you bring in something from the past, the other person will not disagree with you because they'll just avoid a long argument. So keep your relationship in the present, and the other person will be more willing to finish the argument with you.
Really? This girl said he knows his stuff.
So that was from Oprah a while back. And today's show is about glass houses. And what that means is everybody has something to hide. It's just a question of when you find out. And so part of what I was talking about on Oprah is the sooner you can be real and yourself in a relationship, you're going to save yourself a lot of time. And something that Geoff Brown always takes issues with, but seems to like, is I say that when you're in a relationship, before you make a long-term commitment, get into 3 arguments. I mean, don't force them, although if it's heading towards that, you might sort of trigger it, because you want to see the other person at their worst before it happens later on. And you want to see to what lengths the other person goes to be right and have to win and have their way, because that's going to happen later on. And if you can see that ahead of time, then you'll be able to save things. What's interesting, I was on the show with Oprah because I was the world's authority on helping divorced couples get back together again after they were divorced, and they found me. I didn't find them, and I asked them, why'd you get back with an ex? And they said, well, the interesting thing is when you're getting divorced, you see the other person at their worst, whereas when you date someone, you have yet to see them at their worst, and if you can live with the other person, that ex having been at their worst, especially when you caused a big portion of it, there's always a chance to go back.
Well, with that said, Dr. G has set up the show yet again. It's going to be great today because we're talking about the smoking gun, the Scandal series. Is the perfect, flawless, unblemished preacher, mentor, coach, teacher, politician, or community leader an illusion in today's society? As is commonplace, you know I like to start with a bunch of questions. True or false? Everyone, both public and private, can have a smoking gun pulled on them if given the right resources. Remember Kenneth Starr? He was paid, what, like $40 million to investigate the Clintons? And he found some dirt. Listen, most of us are not the Clintons, but we all got some kind of dirt on us. The reason why I'm doing this show is because it amazes me how people are so gullible when that new person comes on, right? When that new person comes, they go, oh man, this person is the one, this person is the right person. Whether it be relationships, whether it be politics, whether it be a community leader, whether it be some kind of guru or teacher, oh man, he's a stand-up dude, that's a straight guy, it's impossible. Yeah. It's impossible for that to exist, and I want to explore it because it seems like we always get blindsided. Doc, is there this kind of collective mass hypnosis where people just want to believe in a guy? I mean, it sounds like I'm talking about Barack Obama.
Hold on.
Because we got caught up with, I believe, yes, we can.
Change. There's a saying I
Change,
have.
Right?
There's a saying I have that skeptics are people who are hesitant to believe. Cynics are people who refuse to believe. Skeptics are people who once believed and were disappointed and let down. Cynics are people who once believed and were betrayed and deceived. But inside all skeptics, and I think a lot of cynics, is a desire to believe again. The reason being is if you go through life with a chip on your shoulder, if you go through life holding a grudge and just looking for everyone to live down to that grudge, it's a lousy life. So I think there's, what's that naive expression, hope springs eternal, because you know what it is? As you go through life, it's exhausting to keep your guard up. I mean, you have to keep your guard up wherever you are as you get older, and Bobby and I are a little bit older. What I like about Bobby, he doesn't keep his guard up. That's why he gets into so much trouble.
Bobby ain't got time for the guard. He throwing blows.
Yeah, that's right.
Speak on it, Bobby, and then...
Well, I think if we work off of a foundation of belief that there's two types of folks, the caught and the uncaught, then it eliminates the need to be shocked or surprised when people fall short. The worst thing I see happening every day is folks living vicariously through other people. And you're going to get disappointed because you may like somebody as an artist or an entertainer or a sports figure. The biggest mistake is to assume that they have that same elite level of behavior in other aspects of their lives. You know, it's just not going to happen, you know.
I agree.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
Kev? Oh, no.
Oh,
Rita
okay.
G.
I was going to say that I believe that we do have one leader amongst us who has no dirt on him, and that would be little 9-year-old King Na.
King Na.
He's the only leader we have right now who's got no dirt. He's impeccable as of now. The little 9-year-old boy.
Yeah, as far as you know.
I love it. But you know what?
Come on,
I love that little brother, but don't put him in that kind of situation where he has to rise to a level of perfection. No, he already probably got something that he's doing that. He's human. I mean, we're human beings, you know. It's just
maybe that's the problem, is that we expect our leaders to be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's coming from a space because we know we're not perfect.
Exactly.
So we want them to be perfect. What do you think of that, Kev?
Well, I think that's true because when you look at a leader, you want to believe that you're aspiring to something that you are not, or something greater. But me myself, I don't necessarily believe in dirt.
Speak on it.
I don't believe in that.
What you mean?
What I mean is, me and Zoe talked about this yesterday, and I believe that if anything that you would do that you would be embarrassed by, And the word embarrassed, it goes back to be put behind bars. So, you know, when you're embarrassed, if you have something that you're embarrassed by, it literally locks you up from
You're
being
imprisoned.
who you are. You're in prison.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to do something, make sure you can own it right from the beginning. That's right from the bat. So if it ever comes back up, you can always own it. Say, yeah, that's me. I don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. So, you know, for me, you know, I don't know about anybody else here. I don't have shit like that. Like anything I've ever done, if it ever came back up, I'd be like, yeah, I did that shit. So if a naked picture of me came back up through the internet or something, you know what I'm saying? I'll give you a frame. That's just how I get down. So.
No, and I think it's important that be understood. Every leader is flawed, right? Every one of them, right?
You know,
you know, I don't take too kindly to white folk cutting me off.
I'll go back to my token corner.
No, go ahead, Doc. Finish your point.
You know, I've been giving these talks on Steve Jobs about how to think like him. People say, well, make sure you just talk about his genius. Don't talk about the a-hole. And one of the things that I realize about leaders is the leaders we need are people who are clear about the future. And the clearer you are about the future, the more impatient and intolerant you are about people.
Ooh, say more.
Well, the clearer your vision. So when I've been in discussions about Steve Jobs, and I think some of us can relate to this. He was invited everywhere because he was kind of a genius at the end and he was brazen, but he didn't belong anywhere. He was an outlier, and he belonged to the future. So he bonded into the future and saw what technology everybody would want. Mm-hmm. And so what happened is because he was bonded to the future, he was intolerant of people. He was intolerant about people getting in the way of that. Now the thing is, I don't think he was hiding his a-hole. I mean, you know, I guess...
Hiding his a...
Well, maybe he did at the end if he needed some medications or something. But I think what we want from leaders is a clarity of some sort of vision that we can all live into and something that they can lead us to, and we will be embarrassed for them about their personal life, but we'll forgive that if they're not directly screwing us.
Listen, it's the Smoking Gun Show. I'm going to be talking all kind of shit about my dirt. I'm not afraid of it. At the end of the day, I think the new leader can't be an imbalanced image for corporations to support. This is how you know. Mr. Perfect, with all the corporate sponsors, right? That's not a leader. That's an image. They want you to follow an image. Jesus is an image. Ain't nobody image cleaner than Jesus, goddammit. We about to take a quick break. Smoking Gun Show. Scandal.
They say Long introduced them to his world of luxury, private jets, Rolls Royces, plying them with gifts, even putting them on the church payroll while pressuring them into having sex.
The bishop was grooming young men to be at his disposal. He finds them at 14 or 15 years of age. He starts to get a relationship with them at that primary time when a young man's really searching for his identity.
The men's attorney says Long sent another young male member of his church, not involved in the lawsuits, this picture of himself, dressed far differently than his usual tailored suits. Long has yet to speak publicly, but has denied the allegations through his lawyer. His spokesperson called it a shakedown.
There are a lot of things being said out there, but before rushing to judgment on Bishop Long in the court of public opinion, I really do hope that you would look at guys who are throwing mud and just consider the source right now.
Members of Long's New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, a congregation said to number 25,000, include popular Atlanta DJ Frank Ski, who also defended his pastor.
As a friend and an extended family member, I have loyalty, and I'm loyal to him and to his family. So I am standing by his side through this and even after.
With Jimmy Swaggart. Jimmy Swaggart's scandal came complete with prostitution and a very tearful on-camera confession.
To my fellow television ministers and evangelists, please forgive me for sinning against you. I have sinned against you, my Lord. And I would ask that your precious blood would wash and cleanse every stain.
Background here is that Jimmy Swaggart had been going after other televangelists like Jim Bakker for marital infidelity for years. When the tables were turned in 1988, he was forced to admit that he himself had availed himself of the services of a prostitute. So he confessed with many tears. As you saw, he stepped down from his ministry for 3 months. Then, despite having been defrocked by the Assemblies of God, he went back as an ordained minister of his own Jimmy Swaggart Ministries. Then, 3 years later, he was busted with another prostitute in his car, at which point he told his congregation that his proclivities were, and I quote, none of your business.
I know it's easy for us to laugh, but let's just, this is my angle on it, and you guys can tell me what you think. Especially with preachers. Preachers are like life rafts or lifeboats. People who need a belief system, right, really don't have nothing inside. People might disagree with that, right? But on the inside, like when you're dealing with sports kids, right, a lot of coaches are evaluating not just their physical abilities, but their mental and psychological abilities. Yes. So they say, oh, this kid is self-motivating, where this kid needs a pat on the back to get going. So one is internally motivated, the other one is externally motivated. Yeah. A lot of religious folks are externally motivated. You're not happy with this life, you know, have been conditioned to believe that this life is, you know, payment for the next one or the better life. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. So with that said, I'm looking at the way they look at the leaders as infallible, you know, beyond reproach, but that also absolves them for any personal responsibility. I went to him, he said it's going to be all right. They're a twig for a drowning life. It's unfortunate, but this is why we idealize and fantasize these leaders, because we don't want to be left with the bag of holding, you know, responsibility for everything that's wrong in our lives. Anybody agree or disagree with that?
It's just like your health. I mean, ultimately, you're responsible for your own health.
Speak into the mic, baby.
And just because you go see a doctor, they can't be responsible for your health. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Tony B. Conscious, speak in the mic. Grab the mic. This is the brother. I wanted him on the community empowerment, but he got here 85 minutes late. But that's fine. He has this shirt that he created. A lot of people have been asking about it. Really quickly, where can they find it? And then tell me your thoughts on today's topic.
Conscious Enterprises, consciousentertainment.com.
Right.
Everybody who's been supporting it, everybody who's been coming through, real cool.
Gotcha.
A lot of people from Texas, though. You've got a lot of followers in Texas.
Oh, Texas, I love y'all. Straight up. I'm going to be out there. We're going to kick it. We're going to chop it up, eat some barbecue or something.
Speaking on Texas, I was just there this weekend for the Power Networking Conference. And me and a couple of the conscious brothers, one thing we noticed about it is in corporate America, you have a lot of powerful black women with a lot of excess money, a lot of excess cash, money that they're not doing anything with. There's not a pool of African-American men up there. So a lot of them are single. They're making 6 figures and got all this money. Now, one thing that we found quite interesting is there was a lot of preachers here constantly telling these sisters that they were the man's rib. They were the man's rib, that God was a him. God was something that they had to look outside of themselves
right,
as a woman. And we were stepping aside as brothers, and we were like, don't they know that if they tapped into their goddess power and their goddess energy and stopped looking at the male as a deity, that they could be doing all these things that they waiting for the man to guide them to tell them what to do. The preachers tell them, put their money here, put their money there, even at the conference. Oh, well, put your money in this. Do this with your money. They could be opening up
schools, independent schools, doing all that, but them believing that the male deity
Are you talking
is,
about the preacher?
Yeah.
Right.
But the women believing that the male deity, that absolves them from responsibility. That is, they're saying that, oh, well, God's a man. I'm just here to be the helpmate. You know, it's out of, they're not taking responsibility.
You calling women to the floor? I'm going to give it to Rita G after that. But let me have Bobby come in and clean this up. Bobby?
I ain't got that big of a broom. It's really complex and simple. On one hand, what makes this a complex conversation is there's opinions. We all have them. And then we got to figure out what the facts are. Ministers in particular, it's troubling in this day and age to be able to decide who team they really own, because you said something a minute ago, Rita, about responsibility, and that's one of the tenets of the American program that I've seen consistently be something that I can draw upon, because at the end of the day, I got to be responsible for me. And the more I use I, the less I got to worry about what you think, they think, we think. Because those people morph into this invisible thing. And sometimes me and Zoe go back and forth about they.
Yeah.
You know, particularly when it comes to the white man. He's become so mythical that people look at him as unbeatable. And if anybody's ever been flawed, it's him. But we're all flawed, but some people get a pass because we give them this station, this place.
Oh, that's good, Bobby.
And ministers in particular, it's hard to challenge them when we have every right to ask them some questions. Like, first of all, where is this money going? Okay. They have these conferences once a year, like the Power Network. What are y'all doing with this money y'all collecting?
Exactly.
Oh, I know. Some of it is going for the build up for next year. So for the next 364 days, we got to figure out something else to do. Meanwhile, Rome is burning to the ground.
Right.
So conceptually, I got a problem with the notion of leadership unless we come up with a working definition of what a leader is.
But a leader cannot be perceived as this imbalanced, manicured image that is attractive to corporate sponsorship. We have to start accepting leaders for who they are first, and that's human. Most times we see leaders as an ideal. Like, this is the ideal black man to lead us, or this is the ideal civil rights person, or this is, do you understand? We have this concept, and listen, it trickles down to our relationships. It's the same shit. Most people are dating the representative and not the real person. The representative leads. Like, this is my ideal self. This is my best foot forward. This is me on my best behavior. And then once I get what I want, then you get to be introduced to the real me. And then you go, well, what happened to the other dude? Well, we get the same thing when we're dating a politician or when we're dating a pastor, because it's all relationship. We still courting, right? The Republicans are courting Spanish people right now, the Hispanics. They courting them.
Yep.
You feel me? Hillary Clinton, she courting all the feminists. She about to, all the feminists about to get courted strong because Hillary Clinton. I'm just saying, it's all a relationship, so that's what happens. We date this perfected concept. That's why I said, you bring up Hillary Clinton, we better bring up Benghazi. Oh, hey, let's not represent the full me. Let's just represent the ideal me so I can get this vote.
Right.
Bobby?
Well, I went and saw a good friend of mine last night, Boosie Collins, at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
And Boosie got a song that I think should be played once a day worldwide. If you want to be free, you can't be dumb. Because what happens in a conversation about leadership, if you're dumb, you will work out of somebody else's definition of leadership. I don't consider pastors or politicians necessarily leaders.
Thank you.
My new mantra is you can't lead people if you can't feed people. So all these people that are perceived to be leaders, how many jobs are they creating? How many people are they really taking care of? as opposed to the people taking care of them. Yeah. See, that gets this whole thing twisted out of shape.
Rita G?
Well,
good point, Bobby.
You know, when I hear a lot of people talk about pimps and, I'm sorry, preachers and
same thing.
Most people regard them as...
Where my money, bitch? I mean, parishioner.
You know, they're regarded as hustlers and pimps. And I heard Brother Umar say one time, the reason why churches are overwhelmingly all female is because men are quicker to peep game, and they're not going to sit up and get pimped. Absolutely. Basically.
That's interesting. Quicker to peep game. Like, look, I would say, I would even go a step further than that. Men just don't want to be controlled.
Right. They don't.
Why would I listen? If I get my woman and she want to control me, why would I then leave the house with her and go to church and then be controlled by a dude?
Financially.
Jesus, I can't. Somebody gonna have to let the reins go at some point. You understand, Doc?
I wanted to say something about this responsibility thing, because I heard something that was brilliant last week, and this person said, don't ask people what they're responsible for. Ask them what they're accountable for.
Ooh.
And what he said, it was brilliant. He said because when someone is responsible for something and it doesn't work out, you say you're sorry. But when you're accountable for something that doesn't work out, you got to pay the consequences.
Right.
And I think to me it was just so brilliant to ask people, so what are you accountable for as our leader? Whereas you're inviting all kinds of verbiage if you say, so what are you responsible for? They can go off on a tangent and you never get them back to reality.
Good stuff. Listen, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back. We talking about the Scandal Show. Smoking gun. They're smoking guns on everybody. Ain't nobody's hands clean.
Not me.
You too, Nick.
I dare somebody find some shit on me.
You dare them?
I dare them.
You gonna put a frame on it?
I dare them.
All right. Get
Triple
your
dare you.
Barack Obama clean ass out of here.
I just own my shit. That's all.
We'll be back.
People magazine. It is on the cover story in this week's issue. Shriver calling this a, quote, painful and heartbreaking time. Suzanne Zuckerman is a staff writer for People magazine. Good morning, Suzanne.
Good morning.
So we now know the name of this woman. She goes by Patty. We saw her picture there. What more do we know about her?
You know, we know that she, as you said, was a housekeeper for the family for 20 years. She retired with severance in January, around the same time that it is believed that Arnold revealed to Maria that he had fathered a child with her. And of course, we now see the fallout of this, which is Maria's admission of her own heartbreak and devastation at, quote, the disintegration of her family.
And do we know if this was an ongoing relationship that this woman had with Arnold?
Sources close to Arnold say that it was not, that indeed it was a relationship that ended more than 10 years ago.
Hillary Rodham Clinton, mystery woman. First lady to be under criminal investigation, inundated by scandals from Little Rock, Arkansas to Washington, D.C. The Clintons squeaked by Kenneth Starr's lengthy investigation into what is now known as the Whitewater scandal, a shady real estate deal the Clintons were never prosecuted for, although their associates were convicted of federal fraud and conspiracy charges. During the first year of Bill Clinton's tenure in the White House, they fired 7 employees with the White House Travel Office in order to reward their friends with jobs.
Was information developing? Was the situation fluid? Would we reach conclusions later that weren't reached initially? And I appreciate
Madam Secretary, do you disagree with me that a simple phone call to those evacuees to determine what happened wouldn't have ascertained immediately that there was no protest? I mean, that was a piece of information that could have been easily obtained.
Well, but Senator,
within hours, if not days.
Senator, when you're in these positions, the last thing you want to do is interfere with any other process going
I realize,
on.
I realize that's a good excuse.
Number two, no, it's the fact. Number two, I would recommend highly you read both what the ARB said about it and the classified ARB, because even today, there are questions being raised. Now, we have no doubt they were terrorists, they were militants, they attacked us, they killed our people. But what was going on and why they were doing what they were doing?
No. Again, we were misled.
And to have an opportunity to participate in the Planned Parenthood annual meeting. I have to tell you that It was a great privilege when I was told that I would receive this award. I admire Margaret Sanger enormously. Her courage, her tenacity, her vision. Another of my great friends, Ellen Chesler, is here, who wrote a magnificent biography of Margaret Sanger.
Sense of forgiveness or no?
No, I don't, particularly not in the Western world. For example, there's a report that says that 1/3 of marriages, the divorces filed in 2011, Facebook was in the text as part of evidence.
Really?
Now, that's amazing.
Really?
There was another survey by prominent lawyers, divorce attorneys, that basically said 81% spike in their cases that have Facebook or social media texting as part of evidence for grounds for divorce. So I don't think women or men are forgiving what's going on.
All right. Well, thank you for your...
And again, listen, there's dirt everywhere. Now that the technology, privacy is gone, somebody got something on somebody somewhere all the time. Then you look in our community, it seems like we're fucking addicted to the drama of who in trouble now? We drawn to the TV, we drawn to the internet, who did what now? We want that drama, right? So, I mean, think of it like this. That boy Donald Sterling didn't think that those recordings would ever come out, right? Technology now is so subtle, it's in every aspect of our lives, and unless we just walking around acting like inert angels, eunuchs, right? Something on you can be revealed at some point. So my thing is, maybe the par for the course for the new leadership in the new world is to come out as a full spectrum human. Just, I mean, at the jump. Because how they do it is they set up, look what happened to Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods worth billions of dollars. Winning all types of shit. Yeah. So, all types of corporate sponsors. Soon as he looked bad, give me all that shit back. Yeah. And motherfucker ain't won nothing since. Like, it just, the image, like our whole world, death of privacy, birth of pretension, birth of politically correct. There's no truth anywhere.
To anything.
In order to be supported by a corporation, you got to be a liar. Who wants to speak on that? That's out there for anybody who wants to touch on that.
I witnessed that this weekend.
We'll get on the mic.
On this weekend, here we got a bunch of brothers and sisters at this Black Power Networking Conference, the leaders talking black this, black that. But then on the second, third day, now you see the real sponsors start coming to the conference. You see like a little white dot here, then a little white dot there, then 2 white dots here.
What my money look like up in here?
And then 3 white dots there. They're still trying to talk the black thing, but now they like changing the word from, oh yeah, we gonna support black ventures to, oh, now we're supporting minority business. Same conference, and all of a sudden, the words, the dialogue changes a little bit when a white person getting.
Yeah, that's the Act Right Committee. Well, the Act Right Committee come in there. We ain't giving no money unless you act right.
Well, corporation is an artificial person in the first place, so it's a persona, and so when you're representing that corporation, you need to have a flawless persona as well, or you're going to do damage to that corporation. And so, you know, you can't be in front of you can't be the speaker of a corp or the spokesperson for a corporation and be flawed. So that's where the lies start to come.
Yeah. I understand the purpose of it, but where does all of the dirt in the world come from? You trying to tell me it don't come from corporations?
All the dirt in the world?
Man, the TPP?
Oh, Trans-Pacific
It just
Partnership.
destroyed all sovereignty. That's dirt. That's dirt.
In a way.
We don't need constitutions, we need corporations. Tell me I'm bullshitting.
Well, the Constitution has been It's been out of service for almost 100 years anyway, so it doesn't matter. That never mattered. The corporation has been running the countries for about 100 years, so you know, when you take that, and that's how they created corporations out of every person in America, which literally is what that word means. Person means a public character or a public face. So, you know.
But I think the biggest thing is this. This is the angle I'm trying to come to here. Bad people can do good things in your life. How about that?
Yeah, it's about the message and not the person giving the message.
Why you got to be so goddamn attached to the messenger?
Right.
How come you just can't take the information that's valuable from the messenger, good or bad? His life could be shit. I tell you what, a bum will tell you how to fuck up some money. He'll tell you how to lose some money. Let me tell you what you should do with your money. No, won't you tell me what you did with yours?
But people do that because they need leaders because they're lazy. So, you know, if you got a leader and he's saying, yo, the way out is over there, but through that door.
So you're saying the black community is lazy because we always asking who the next leader is?
I'm saying anybody who follows a leader is lazy. I don't believe in leaders at all. You should find out for yourself, decipher the information for yourself, and deal accordingly. So if you're following a leader and he says, yo, the door is this way, then that's less work that you have to do or inspection you have to do to figure out what's going on behind that door.
So I like that.
What would happen?
And then Bobby?
What would happen if everyone who tells us they think what we should do and they know what's better for us, what if we asked them, tell me what you would do if you were me, and then explain it? Because I think if you did, I think if you did that, you would say they don't have a clue about me. But I think if we ask the stakeholders of all these corporations and these leaders, well, tell me. I know you're telling me what to do, but what would you do if you were me? And then see how well they understand you. And I think what would happen is they'd come out as clueless, and then you have to ask yourself, well, would I want to follow anyone who has no idea who I am or where I'm coming from? This is lunacy.
That's good. But most people will take that advice, whether that person knows them or not, because, again, it absolves them of doing the work. I think Dr. John Gray said it in the best way I've ever heard it. He said, listen, with regards to relationship counseling, he said, no matter how much relationship tools a guy has in his toolbox to help your relationship, none of those fucking tools will work unless you're willing to do the work.
That's right.
He said, I don't care if it's a superhero relationship specialist.
Yep.
All he gonna do is he gonna point you in a direction. This goes back to the Sanskrit word guru, right? You look at the word guru, it means the dispeller of darkness. It is a pointer. Listen, when you at the stoplight and motherfucking light turned yellow and then red, you don't praise the light as a guru for guiding you. You don't jump out and bow down to the signal light. But that shit saved your life. I mean, you could have made a choice and kept going and ran some shit over and fucked yourself up. But you're not praising it for that assistance. All relationship counselors or community leaders, all we do is point in a direction.
Way showers.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You don't get out. The captain of a ship don't get out and praise the lighthouse.
No.
I have a question though. Why are there different levels of accountability across different arenas? For example, dudes in the street, if a drug dealer does some out-of-pocket stuff, he's going to be held accountable for it. You know, somebody's going to come see him, and you know he might die. A preacher does the out-of-pocket stuff. He says sorry, and it's business as usual.
Preacher's anointed.
There's actually, why is there more accountability?
Listen, my sins are anointed.
Anointed by God. That's a whole different...
The 99-cent store sells olive oil now.
Preachers and politicians, they don't have
Bobby?
accountability. I have more respect for the streets in that,
right.
because they're accountable.
You know, it's amazing that we're living in this age of information, allegedly, right? It's so much of it that you can't really sift through it to get to the substance unless you really take a good look at yourself and say, all right, now should I listen to them or should I listen to this? And then I don't lean more toward my own understanding.
Yes.
Here recently, because and that way you allow yourself to be attracted to that which you're seeking. You know, I just can't be around a lot of dumb people much longer because it's just too dangerous. You know, and they're not always what they appear to be. Sometimes people get on microphones and they talk extensively for 45 minutes, and you literally don't remember anything that they said.
No impact whatsoever. Hey, Bobby, thank you so much for that. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, Bobby G, Kevin Berenger, Lord Berenger, Dr. Mark Goulston, Dr. G, Tony B. Conscious. Yo, y'all got to get his T-shirts right now. Order his shirts. It's not just a negative word here. He turned it into an acronym. It's a conversation piece.
Intellectual discourse that we must start.
Okay, can I finish? Jesus. And then on the back, he breaks down all of the countries and the different terms of where the word actually came from. Of course, we got Rita G, via Skin Science in the building. Zoe Williams, voice of, Zoe What Morning Show. We'll be back at 2.2. Holla.
I think my understanding is that, I talked to Ronell Collins, that he got the idea about Malcolm being a male prostitute, or being people think homosexual, from like what Ronell wrote in the book with you, The Seventh Child.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about the book and Dr.
I think that Marable's book was written for the express purpose of enhancing his prestige in the white academic world. I think that was the purpose of that book, and so he wrote it with that in mind. Part about the homosexual bit, he did not get that from. No, there's nothing in that book that said that. That Brother Malcolm was involved in any kind of homosexual activity. And my position on that is this: considering how closely Brother Malcolm was watched by the FBI, the CIA, and even his enemies in the Nation of Islam, if they had had anything like that, they would not have had to assassinate him.
That's true.
All they would have to do is go and say, listen, we know so and so and so and so and so and so. Now you keep your mouth shut, or we're going to put this out to the world.
And they had to do the Dr. King. I mean, they had the sex tapes, right?
That's all they had to do. So that's why I say, you know, for you to print something like that, which is pure speculation, to me, is for a book of quote-unquote scholarship.
But I'm saying, but it's interesting.
Motherfucker is actually wrote in his latest blog on his website, marklamontbitchnigga.com or something, that Malcolm X was gay. Okay, let all the black folks marinate on that one for a minute. That this brother is saying that Malcolm X was a closeted homosexual. Okay? And that's what bothers me about gay dudes, is why y'all always got to make somebody gay? Why can't you just be gay for you? No, you can't. Here's what it is. You got to make Malcolm X a cocksucker to justify your being a cocksucker. Because that's what this is. You got to see, if Malcolm X, the man who wrote the blueprint on what it is to be a black man in America, was gay, then that makes what you do okay. Because you can always say, well, Malcolm did it too. No.
Tell us exactly what it said. It's a very threatening letter. It has sort of two pieces to it. One are these kind of vague threats that you mentioned. King, you've got to do something. You've got to take action. You're a fraud. Take yourself out of public life. And then most of it is actually about his sex life and is about these kind of over-the-top, really racially charged, very graphic accusations about extramarital affairs, about orgies, and the implication is that all of this is on the tapes that accompanied the letter, and that whoever is sending this letter has more information where all of that comes from, and they're threatening to expose it.
It's the smoking gun show, goddammit. It's the scandal show. Listen. Y'all got to stop falling for the fairy tale okey doke. It's the whole purpose of this show. Ain't nobody fucking spick and span spotless. Everybody done did something. But the key to manhood and leadership is standing up and claiming it.
Right.
Owning it.
Absolutely.
That's it. Standing up and claiming it. Owning it.
That's what real brothers do.
Right. I listen, people been hitting me, hey, say something about Dr. Umar. Say something about Dr. Umar. Let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck what Dr. Umar does behind closed doors. That shit don't mean nothing. Enjoy. Do what you do. But I do know this. The work that motherfucker do
is awesome.
Motherfucker trying to raise money for a school, but niggas will find a reason not to support. Like, so my thing is, what's that disease they say people have when you fall in love with your oppressor?
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. It's like we're making excuses to stay in that mindset. I don't care what that brother did or didn't do, for that matter, because I wasn't there, so I don't know shit.
I don't give a shit.
And don't give a shit. I know that motherfucker's a stand-up brother. I know that brother carries himself with respect and integrity. Now, at the end of the day, he said something to a woman, didn't say something to a woman, misrepresented himself, whatever. I don't care. I know we need those schools. Period. At the end of the day, we need those schools.
Period.
I know the work that he does in the community affects the lives of the people he's working with for the better. Anything else don't matter to me.
So if someone's, and I agree with you. So if someone's hurting someone in their personal life, as long as their role that we have elected them for is to lead us, that shouldn't be taken into consideration.
This is how I look at it.
Greater good.
This is how I look at it. Yeah. First off, the greater good, number one. But number two, did you guys see that movie Dragon Rider? Me and Kev talked about this the other day. Dragon Rider.
The Dragon Moors.
No. It's relatively new. I wish we could. I'll pull it up during the next break and then give you guys all of the information for it. Dragon Rider.
Animated.
No, it wasn't animated.
Oh, it looked like
no, it wasn't animated.
On the box.
Little white boy finds an egg, and then the egg hatches. It's a dragon. So little white boy is feeding it, and then all of a sudden the dragon grows and evolves. But the little white boy is supposed to be of some special lineage, one of the last dragon riders. So he don't know how to ride no goddamn dragon. So he comes in contact with an old dragon rider. But this dragon rider has been ousted because he did the one thing you ain't supposed to do. He killed his dragon, right? But he becomes essential to the maturation of the last dragon rider because he becomes his mentor and he teaches him. All people are dragon riders who have killed something, who have fucked up in some area of their lives. Just because you fuck up in some area of your life doesn't mean you're not valuable to the people anymore. That dude, I'm a dragon rider. I done fucked up. Listen, niggas is gonna come for me when it get big. I'm telling you right now. They gonna come for me when I get big. It's dirt. It's dirt. All types of shit. Dirt. I done did it. I'm owning it right now. I did it. Probably 98% of the shit they come out with, I did it. I'm just saying. But that doesn't mean we're still not vital and valuable to the community. And I'm saying what I saw in social media, some bullshit, man. We got to get behind that brother. We got to support that brother in every endeavor he got on deck.
But why are those same people so quick to get behind a pastor or a preacher and defend him? And we must.
How much money Eddie Long still making right now?
It's the message, not the messenger. But they're content to just condemn this brother.
How much money is Eddie Long still making right now? Bread. Eddie Long got churches all over the country. He making bread. No shade on Eddie Long. But if we gonna support Eddie Long for long-stroking young boys, we still support him. Obviously, whatever he got to say to the community is still valuable. If we gonna support him, we gotta support. Listen, Creflo Dollar gonna get that $70 million plane. If we gonna support him, we gotta support this brother.
That's right. 2 planes they got.
Every dude in the community that's trying to do something for the community is not spick and span. Stop falling for the fucking social imagery of the savior that absolves you of your responsibility for your mediocre life. All Umar Johnson could do is build something and say, this is what we have, here's a resource. Now, if we misuse it, disrespect it, ignore it, that's on us. Does that make sense? Bobby?
You know, I was thinking about South Carolina as an example of this whole conversation about leadership and perception. And when the president got up and spoke at the brother's funeral, Pickney's funeral, and it became a production very quickly to some of us. And then I caught some backlash from folks that said I was being a little, harsh on what went on. And I'm so glad that I had an education that afforded me the opportunity to just kind of break things down and then decide whether or not I was going to go along with, conventional thought, think for myself. And the more I do that, the more I'm comfortable with the fact that at the end of my life, I want to be able to say, you know what, I lived a good chunk of this within the scope of what I see, feel, think, and hear. And I look at other people who are very quick to try to isolate me or people who want to think for themselves and categorize as something other. And here's a real quick example. I was at this concert last night, and there was a group that headlined, and they were world famous. I never heard of Basement something, and they had a huge following. And I say a good 50% of the audience was either gay or lesbian. And because I was dressed like a man who was trying to appeal to the feminine population, they were looking at, I wasn't going to do none of that macking. I done moved on from that shit. It's up or down.
Bobby, it's up and down.
So these people started looking at me, and this guy walked over to me and said, how do you feel about gay marriage? And I said, do I know you? And he said, no, I just asked you a question, You seem to be having a good time, and I want to introduce you to my husband. And the expression on my face let him know that that's foreign to me. A man with a man, and that's one,
talking to Bobby. It might be a fight.
No, we didn't have to go there. So I said, man, obviously you doing your thing, right? He said, no, I asked you how you feel about gay marriage. I said, man, you doing your thing. I said, now, it's a contradiction to me, but it's your thing. Well, how do you feel about gay marriage? I said, I just told you that I'm not going to get in your lane, and please just let me go on and enjoy this concert, And then there's some people kind of got in a circle around me almost, and I'm like, I know y'all ain't about to rush me, are you?
You beat down on you, boy.
And here's where this thing is really, here's where leadership and the concept of dirt and this and that becomes really unproductive. Malcolm, we talked about Malcolm a minute ago. The great thing that Malcolm did was he put it all out there. He said, I done been a pimp, dope dealer, an addict, I done been all of those things. Now what? Now what? Because here's where I'm at right now in my life. This is what I'm about. The best advice I can give anybody listening to this show is find out who you want to be and what you will defend, what you will kill for, what you'll die for. The rest of this shit, it really is not that important. It really isn't. You're going to get caught up in somebody else's web.
Caught up in somebody else's web. I just want to know this. For our community, this is why I say we talk about culture a lot. We talk about religion a lot. We talk about politics. In our culture, we always seem to have the craziest, most warped kind of perspectives on things in terms of how we interface in this society. And it's always head down, head low, go along, get along kind of experience. This is what I'm seeing. You guys may disagree. But for us to be that way and in search of a leader in a lot of cases, it just seems like it's a double whammy for us to overcome. First, we got to get our knowledge of self together. And once we get that together, then we got to get over that. But then how do we need tips on self-leadership. How do we say, man, me, Bobby said it great, what I'm about, what I'm going to die for, what I'm going to stand for, what I'm going to kill for, what am I about? When we look at our rites of passage, in a lot of communities, our rites of passage is making it into the gang.
Yeah.
Getting jumped into the gang is a rite of passage.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? And not only is it a rite of passage, it's joining a family.
Yeah. Brotherhood now.
It's a brotherhood now. So a group of Masons or a group of Omegas or Alphas can't look at a group of Crips like they ain't, because the Crips are the same thing as you.
Exactly.
It's a fraternity.
Exactly.
It's a fraternal order, and there's a hierarchy. My question is, how do we recontextualize what leadership means in our community so we can stop going after these mannequins, these pop-ups? Because we get surprised by them all the time. Surprised, like, oh my God, I can't believe that person would rob us. Yes, his whole shit was designed to rob you. This goes back to black and white thinking. Remember when I said black and white thinking is right and wrong, and it'll line up for us. We'll say, oh, all of these things are in place. That's the right guy. It's an imbalance. Speak on it.
Well, some people need leaders. I mean, you know, they're just not natural leaders, so they need
leaders like training wheels, or leaders like I'm a sheep forever and that shepherd man.
Well, some people are like that. They're just passive. They're just naturally passive, and they don't want to get out there and do that, and they just want rather somebody else do it. Like when Obama sang "Amazing Grace" the other day, the word grace means to be passive. It literally means to sit back and be passive and to please. So this is where the people are caught up in, especially people in Christianity. They're caught up in always trying to please and be passive. So, you know.
What about the Buddhists? They're the same way. They're pacifists.
Yeah, the Buddhists are pacifists, but
they will set themselves on fire and protest if you fuck with them.
And if you go fuck with a monk, he'll beat your ass.
Yeah, Shaolin on your ass.
so it ain't that passive. So, you know, that's it for me, but go ahead.
All right, we got to take this quick break, man. We'll be back, man. That's true. Everybody got problems. Even the leader you believe in.
Not me.
You got problems too, man.
Keep telling you, not
We'll
me.
be back.
This is the biggest financial fraud in the history of the country.
Attorney Ken Lippman has prosecuted swindlers in the past, but he says if Madoff is found guilty, he'll be considered the biggest con of all. Lippman says one of his clients reportedly lost $11 million investing with Madoff.
Our phones have been ringing constantly with people who have lost their entire fortunes in this astounding collapse.
Many of them elite Palm Beachers who convened at the Palm Beach Country Club this weekend. Accountant Richard Rampell says his clients feel betrayed.
And you're thinking, here's a guy that, you know, has done so well all this time, and we got fooled by him. You know, what else is out there? Who can you trust?
Experts say this is only the beginning. Some hedge funds are expected to crumble. The once extraordinarily wealthy could lose their homes and downsize their businesses.
Last December, the Big Apple received an early and unwelcome Christmas present. The news that Bernard Madoff, one of the lions of Wall Street, had confessed to swindling billions of dollars from investors.
What do you have to say for yourself? What do you have to say to the public, to your investors?
Madoff was the last person on Wall Street most people would have suspected of such a crime.
Why would he be arrested? I mean, he was the gold standard of Wall Street.
I was shocked. I could not believe it.
To hear that he, for all these years, had pulled off this enormous fraud is really quite astounding.
He was highly regarded. He was a good family man and a prominent member of New York's influential Jewish community. But a crook, never.
See? And that's another angle. Let me just say this. Somebody tell me I'm wrong for saying this. Black people are addicted to negativity, drama, negativity, and we, as black people, are as suspicious of our own people as white people are of us. A lot of niggas don't want to lean into that one, but I believe that is the case. And with all of that, white people tend, when we talk about crimes, white criminality is, oftentimes there's a justification and an excuse for it.
Absolutely.
Right? White boy, mentally ill. Nigga, sniper. Thug sniper on the loose.
Yep.
In the same area. Remember DC Sniper?
Yep.
It's a nigga?
Yep.
What? Do you understand what I'm saying? So white criminality it is a totally different kind of stereotype. Like, I don't know if Adrian Peterson is going to make it. I don't know if he's going to make it back to the league. I don't know if Ray Rice is going to make it back. Right? It's almost like these niggas are way out of control. Right? White boy criminal, Ben Roethlisberger, still making it to the playoffs every year. His cases, rapes, pending. Pending. Like, right. We'll wait until your career's over, and then we'll pursue. You see what I'm saying? White criminality is different.
The dude who shot up the church.
That's what I'm saying.
When he actually got caught, they had a dash cam of what the police did. So he was pulled over to the side, and they got out of the car, and they approached the car with their guns out. And they saw it was him in the car. They all put their guns away. This dude just shot up 9 people in a church.
What about the
9 people.
What about the motorcycle gang that the police just sat down and waited for? Let's just wait until this thing settles down. Whereas this niggas, it's automatic riot time. Y'all niggas is tripping? It's riot time, bitches. Yep. March, Gestapo. So white criminality also puts us in a position to where we're always looking for the other shoe to drop with our leaders. Speak on it.
Well, again, I'm going to go with controlling the narrative and why it's so important. This didn't happen overnight. White people built up this figure, this ideal of what's good and what's bad. And we laughed and joked about it as kids. You know, the black symbol is dark and ugly and this, that, and the other. But if you put all that together, it really leads people in one direction or the other in terms of what they think of themselves, their possibilities, their associations. And I look at each other, when it comes to black people, we do look at each other not only suspiciously, but not as assets. The white community is good at one thing. If it's about business, they're going to do the business first.
They're going to get it done.
They're going to
come together and do it.
They're not going to get concerned with what they really feel about you as long as they perceive you to be an asset. Because everything is perceived. It's hard for us to get our minds around that, but everything that's in this room right now started with a thought. Everything. These microphones, this bottle, everything in here, somebody had to think of it. And then they had to get behind it to the extent where it became something real. And thoughts are things. So if we want to really change our condition, it starts with how we think about each other and ourselves. Because otherwise, we're going to keep running into that same wall that we keep just banging into. And that is, we can't win. It's the white man's, world and all that old kind of stuff, man.
Dr. G, then Tony B, and then my girl, Rita.
As I get to know the younger generation, the millennials, and most of them, they're more white than black in technology and everything. What it's coming down to is people are becoming functions, and people are becoming, and really what it comes down to, if you want to succeed in life, the world is saying, what can you get done for me that's like plug and play? I mean, and that's a value to me. And you don't want to hear any excuses. You want to hear results. But I think we're all under that pressure because the world isn't listening to us. They're not patient to hear us go on and on. And I think it really comes down to is what can you get done for me, this company, this organization that the company or organization needs. And I don't want to hear any excuses. And so let me ask you, do you think, you're talking about the narrative, do you think that's a challenge in the black community and black males coming up, as if you say, what can you get done for such and such? I mean, when you're in sports, every athlete, they get done their position. It's not what they can do. It's not what they'd like to do. It's what they can get done. If they don't get it done, they get traded.
Exactly. I'm going to answer the question very quickly. You give people legitimate options, and that's based on the proper information. So many young people today want things, but they don't have any skills. And they don't know the pathway to apprenticeship and whatever it may be that could provide them the revenue that they want to be able to get the things that they're dying to have. Right now in this country, there's more construction going on than I can ever remember in my lifetime. Ever. You go to Dallas, Chicago, New York, Houston,
happening.
They building, and my people are sitting back there waiting for somebody to come.
They wait
and
for it to get
hire
built.
them.
Yes,
because they don't know anybody in those professions. So when I talk about controlling the narrative, the first thing you got to do is break down that wall. Just break it down and say, look, did you know about this? And the look on their face gonna say, no, man, I didn't know I could make $50 an hour as an apprentice. What?
Tony B?
It's a new conversation. Yeah. So that's why it's important to control the narrative.
Tony, it goes back to lack
Speaking to Mike.
It goes back to lack of intrinsic value. See, they took away our intrinsic value. Like Malcolm said, if you've been taught that you haven't done anything, you can't do anything. From the time they got off the boats, white folks came to America, they have used the whole superhero versus a villain thing for us, right down to the word nigga. I mean, if you look at the word nigga, they probably knew it meant God, but they're like, nah, we gotta make them the villain in this script. This movie script, they the villain. And we the superhero. We the white knights that run in all the movies, and we save the world.
And we save white people more than we save ourselves.
So when black folks look at each other, we bought into the narrative, and we've also lost the intrinsic value. If we don't love ourselves, if we can't see the value in ourselves, if we can't see that we built anything, then how in the heck we gonna do anything but sit on the side, on the curb, waiting for somebody else to build it so we can go and get a construction job after the thing is built?
Wow. So how do you get black people to look at and look to each other to build something together, as opposed to they're all looking at something that's been withheld from them forever? So how do you get them to care enough to get going, Bobby?
Quick answer. You move the spotlight away from the people that have let them down to the people that they have a greater chance of being successful like. I've used Al Heyman as an example. Anytime you can move billions of dollars, it ought to be a line behind that brother, okay? Because he's actually doing that. He has created the kind of wealth that Floyd Mayweather has, all right? And then now they got 5 stations that they show fights on. And he raised $400 million in a private placement. So don't tell me black people can't raise money, but we running around here looking at folks like the preachers. I'll just make
you're saying
that quick
something
point.
really, really big, and I think we need to cover it. Al Heyman ain't the front person, and he's not presenting himself as this perfected image that should be, exonerated and placed on, exalted is the word I'm looking for, and placed on this pedestal. He behind the scenes like a mug, ain't he?
But so are a lot of other successful people, but you find out about them. What's his name went out in front? Warren Buffett wasn't out in front for a long time, but people found him.
Right.
It's about what you do, not what you say, not the perception. It's, can I get ahead doing what they do?
Right.
And we need to get a list of best practices.
Right.
And keep pushing that to people, as opposed to running out these folks that just, that disappoint us and let us down.
And it's good stuff, man. We got to take a quick break. We're coming back, though. The Smoking Gun Show.
You told the FBI, this is a quote, "You don't realize how easy this was for me knowing what I know."
Mm-hmm.
What exactly did you know?
I knew that there were certain relationships that existed between referees and players, referees and coaches, and referees and owners that influenced the point spreads in games. They came down and picked me up.
They picked you up?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened then?
They basically told me that I needed to give them the picks, and if I didn't, that it's a possibility that somebody would go down and visit my wife and kids in Florida.
Wow. And you believed them?
Yes.
In the latest episode of the NFL Spygate, a defiant Bill Belichick decided to break his silence today to challenge the charges and motives of former Patriots video operator Matt Walsh.
There was no deception.
It was Walsh who shot video during Belichick's first 2 seasons in New England, 2000 and 2001. He went public this week, calling the coach arrogant. Walsh claims Belichick's contention that he just misinterpreted the rules was false, and that the taping was actually a deliberate, illicit scheme by the Patriots to cheat their way to victory. Today, in an exclusive interview with CBS News, Belichick fired back at Walsh.
I don't know what the agenda is. You know, again, he was fired here for poor job performance. There's not a lot of credibility. You know, he's tried to, make it seem like we were buddies and belonged to the same book club, and all that is really a long stretch.
What do you think happened? This has raised a lot of uncomfortable conversations for people around this country who view you, three-time Super Bowl champion, a two-time MVP, as their idol. The question they're asking themselves is, what's up with our hero? So can you answer right now, is Tom Brady a cheater?
I don't believe so. I mean, I feel like I've always played within the rules. I would never do anything to break the rules. I believe in fair play, and I respect the league and, everything that they're doing to try to create a very competitive playing field for all the NFL teams. It's a very competitive league. Every team is, trying to do the best they can to win every week. I believe in fair play, and I always believe in that for as long as I'm playing.
So again, the smoking gun is everywhere. It's everywhere. In all aspects of American life. Bernie Madoff, that's finance. Oh, yeah, again. Oh, you would never thought Bernie would have done it. He's the symbol of Wall Street. Yes, he's white. He's dirty than a motherfucker, but he's white. And the image of white crime or white wrongdoing, hey, he's probably going to make more money for everyone. Let's let him keep going till they found out, oh, all our shit gone? Yep. Exactly. Yep. It's all gone. So it's the smoking gun is in every aspect of our lives. We got to stop idolizing, these leaders, and we got to start taking some personal accountability, some personal responsibility.
Get off of your ass.
Now, I want to do this really quickly. There's a book. I always tell y'all to get Furpo's book. Furpo Carr. Smart dude, very intelligent dude. He wrote the book I always promote, which is Wicked Words, Poisoned Minds, Racism in the Dictionary. He took every single word in the dictionary, took it back to its etymological root, and was showing you its racist origins. Like somebody hit me on Twitter the other day and was like, I got this answer right on Jeopardy based off of a book you told me to get from Furpo. Right? I was like, really? He was like, I know what the word gorilla means. Some white man came and said, oh, it's a tribe of hairy African women. That's what the word gorilla means. Yeah. From this book, Poisoned Words, Wicked Minds. But the book I want you to get is a book Furpo wrote in rebuttal to the Marable book that was written about Malcolm X that alleged he was gay. This book is called The Reassassination of Malcolm X by Furpo Carr. And of course, he had contributions from Malcolm's family. And they refuted all that bullshit in a very, intellectual, Furpo shit is real, very, very structured, methodical, hell nah.
Virgo.
This ain't true. Yeah, Virgo. So, yeah, The Reassassination of Malcolm X by Furpo Carr. It's got Malcolm's autopsy picture on the front. And I asked him, why did he do that? He was like, because they're reassassinating this dude by assassinating his character. And I wanted the cover to have that impact so you'll know how serious this is for y'all to be attacking the Black Prince like that. Dr. G?
Something just flashed on me. Do you think part of the issue is that, then the elephant in the room is that black people, especially black men, scare white men, whereas white men just anger other white men?
Wow. Yeah. Why don't black men and white men just have a knockdown, drag-out argument with each other? Are you open to that, Doc? I'm not going to fuck with none of y'all.
No, I'm open to it but a lot of it is because of the show. I mean, Geoff Brown has said he's kind of altered his view of white people because of me, but, white people don't particularly like me either. So,
damn.
But a
damn, Doc.
But a drag-down, knockout fight still wouldn't solve the problem, because at the end of the day, you get to go home to all our riches, and we got to go back to our poor-ass ghetto.
Not all of us.
Yeah,
sorry.
not all
Hey,
black
nigga, where
men.
you live? Shit.
No, I mean, but you know what I mean. We go back to an infrastructure of everything that was left over from what they've taken. So the verbal fight and even a physical fight wouldn't change 400 years of.
So here's the gun. Here's the question. What should be the new criteria for leader selection in the black community? Bobby, I know you got something.
Once again, you can't lead people if you can't feed people.
That's good.
It's real simple, man. There are some very good examples. Let's go back and look at Booker T. Washington, Mr. What's the brother Johnson, John Johnson, or whatever, from Ebony Jet. Let's look at the best practices, man. We just have to really look and see who can move us in a direction where we can feed ourselves. Because you don't have a community if you have to go somewhere else to work. You don't have a community. You know, and everybody come in your community and take. Then they end up taking the community. It's happening right here in Los Angeles, man. You go down in Leimert Park now, they pushing the brothers out of there, man.
Get your...
You know why? Because we did not go to the business leadership portion of our community and say, hey, how do we preserve this? What do we need to build here that will attract money that we can share with each other? So the answer briefly is this. We have to look deeper than we are right now in the pool of opportunities for folks that know how to employ people and create opportunities.
Rita G, Doc. Yeah, here we go.
Do you think that everybody needs leaders who can say, forget the, let's not dwell on so what, let's dwell on now what? You know, because if you invite people to get into, they talk about something, and if you would go say, so what, they're going to take you down a rabbit hole. But maybe what has to be is now what? And I'm not throwing away the past and the reparations and all that, but I think a good leader has to be able to focus people on now what, and then find some way to raise them up and show them a path and get them to the now what.
Right.
That's a great point.
That's an
You can't
excellent
know
point.
the now what if you don't know the past, though. So they need to study that as well. But the new criteria to me for a leader should be someone who doesn't call himself a leader. Just a person
self-appointed as opposed to people appointed.
Right, because you'll see like Al Sharpton and all these people that say, yeah, me and the leaders, me and the other black leaders, we got together and and they he pumped up when he say that. Yeah,
right.
He pumped up when he say that. So most people don't really need a leader. You need information, and because information is not the same for everybody. How I use it may not be how it works for you.
Right.
So you just need to get the information, study it yourself, and find your own path.
Tony? Speaking of
when I was a child, my mother always used to look at my hands and said, you got old man hands. She told me, she said, the way that real people judge a real man is by his hands. If he ain't picked up a shovel, if he ain't really done the work that he's trying to lead other people to do, then he ain't no leader with some soft hands coming through. He gotta have been in the fire and in the trenches first, and then came out to tell the story and to show y'all where he's been and where he can lead you to.
Good stuff. Rita G?
Well, yeah, I think it's easy for anybody to talk a good game, but it's like when the test comes, do you live up to those things? So accountability is the biggest thing. But I think for me, the people who've had the biggest impact on me are those people who, like you said, have given me information and just taught me how to think, not what to think.
There you go. Damn. Real leaders teach how to think, not what to think. Yeah. Come on, G. Rita G from the free throw line. Oh! I love it. I love it. Listen, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, final thoughts, we're going to wrap. Well, we back to wrap it up. Final thoughts. Let me just say, I call myself a relationship hacker because the beliefs you have running on your mind, in my perspective, I look at it like it's old software, okay? We got super computers now. We got Star Trek Enterprise computers. But a lot of people are running Windows 3.1. This ain't even Windows 95. This is Windows 3.1. A lot of us running DOS. We got a black screen with a little green dot flashing, right? A lot of us is running some old-ass programs, okay? This is why, in relationship context, our hurts heal on geological time. Well, you know, Yosemite and the Great Caldera over there is 600,000 years overdue. Right? This is how our hurts heal. They take a long time to heal because we got old software still running on a supercomputer. What makes it a supercomputer? Spirit. Right? A lot of us are so fucking integrated into society that we forget the spiritual aspect that comes with being a human, right? When I say a human, I mean a spirit having a human experience. Or soul, whatever word you want to use, you know. You can get technically. But the point I'm making here is we'll look for social cues and social alignments. This is how women pick men, social alignment. Everything lines up socially. And ignore the spirit. This is why you can't see the full person. Now, your intuition got one eye open, but you shutting it down, pushing it away, because everything lines up socially, which speaks to security, right? If your relationship nigga ain't teaching this, but he just teaching you how to get married, what makes him a great relationship person? Why would I force you into an institution that is flawed in terms of its turnaround? 50% of them motherfuckers don't work. There's a reason why they don't work. It's a lot of people who got everything they want out of life, including a wife, but still unhappy. Why? Because you are not listening to the spirit side of the relationship game. So we got all types of cues like, you know, if a relationship coach is single, don't listen to him or her. Wrong. You in relationship your whole life. The whole purpose of living is to interface and relate with other people. You got people with beliefs, bullshit beliefs, I'm telling you, ruin the world. Black and white beliefs ruin the world. Somebody on fucking Twitter just said a good relationship marriage counselor should have been through and divorced once. Like been through a fucked up marriage once and then now in a good marriage. That's your barometer? This is how we get taken advantage of. Veronica says something that is powerful, and I'm talking about all walks of life. And I'm just giving you an example. It don't always come in the package they said it was supposed to come in. The leader you want, the guru you follow, they don't always come in the package you want. Right? Kendrick Lamar got a great record where he's arguing with a bum about giving him money. And then at the end of it, the bum reveals that he's God. It's like, nigga, give up that money. That shit don't mean nothing. God damn it. There's some lessons here I got to teach you. But because it's a bum, I'm going to resist it. The Bible even speaks of it. And, you know, I'm not a religious dude, but for those who are, the Bible even speaks of angels appearing as unawares. You don't even know who you're talking to. And because it don't look the way you think it's supposed to look, you might pass up a valuable situation in terms of your maturation. Veronica Conway said something on Twitter that was hella powerful. She said, false leaders accrue power to themselves. This is why they use a false mask. Real leaders wake up your inner power and let you go on and do your shit. That's a leader. Anybody that ain't waking up the community to their own inner power is a leech. That's why I say I don't give a fuck what Umar Johnson is doing. in his private time. The man deserves his private time. Ain't none of nobody's business. But I tell you what, when he was promoting that damn school, trying to buy that school, what was Zoe Williams doing? Brother, come on this show and speak to our people, and whoever support him, I love y'all for doing that. This is why I come on this show all the time. Make sure you get Bobby Glanton's book, Real Men Don't Play. As a matter of fact, hold that up real quick, Bobby. Make sure y'all go get that book. This is why I promote black businesses all the damn time, because I know while there's still money to play around with. First off, understand this, nigga. Money's going away. Money's going away. You know the hubris of the government to put a slave on a $20 bill is to tell you that money is debt. Debt is slavery. Well, why don't we just put a fucking slave on the $20 bill? Just to bring the point all the way home. Put Harriet Tubman's ass right on that motherfucker. Dr. G said, people are becoming functions to one another. I like to say, people are becoming apps. I'm going to download this application relationship. And as long as your ass fulfill my motherfucking expectations, then I'm happy. You old external happiness empty motherfucker. This ain't how it work. People get mad at me. This ain't how it work. Listen, if you don't have a happiness factor, relationship is going to work for you. Not even you and your mama. Nothing's going to work for you unless you got a happiness factory on the inside. And this is how you magnetize the person you actually want as opposed to the person you think you need. I'm just saying, man, I believe in my people. And I'm telling you, one of the things that's going to kill us is that fucking black and white thinking. There are no leaders that are flawless. Zoe is flawed. E.D., motherfucker, he flawed. And I'm going to own it. I'm going to claim it. I'm going to represent it. But I tell you this, Zoe's a different person every day because Zoe is working to become better every day. Are you? Somebody get at me. I'll show you how to do it. With that said, that's my final thought. Bobby, where can they find you, man?
Smith on Twitter, www.realmendon'tplay.com. And I'd like to just acknowledge the loss of the great Bobby Womack. He passed away a year ago, and his music will forever remind us that if you think you're lonely now,
love. Yo, Kev.
Booty Boxing, home system. That's udemy.com, udemy.com/bootyboxing, and the promo code is Zoe Show, or you can get at me at YouTube, Real Nagas, REELNAGAS. And I want to say this real quick. Stop calling yourself black. You need to stop calling yourself black and human. Black means you're not real, and human means slave.
A beast or
means
something
slave.
Like that. Yeah.
So stop doing that, please.
Shut your black ass up. No. Tony B.
Maybe because I ain't got no dirt, nigga.
Tony B. Conscious all over everything. You can Google that. TonyBConsious. Conscious Enterprises, or CONSCIOUSENT.com. Come through.
Shit, man, just get a website. Is this fucking Jeopardy?
Wear it.
Wheel of Fortune, you spelling everything. That's enough, nigga. Y'all know where it's at. ConsciousInt.com.
That's right. Keep your third eye open.
Jesus. My girl.
Well, I don't often get to be in the company of this many handsome and...
Girl, you better stop playing. You better stop that bullshit right now.
So it's always a pleasure. Check out my natural skincare products at viaskinscience.com. They're made with love with my own two hands. If you want to see more of my photography, RitaGphotography.com. Twitter is...
Twitter?
Twitter. The real Rita G.
The real Rita G on Twitter. She always calls it Tweeter. She's great for that. Listen, I'm not kidding. Go there now. July 1st. The relationship dismount is going to hit the streets. Y'all got to get at me. IamZoeWilliams.com/the product, the relationship dismount. Just go to my website, IamZoeWilliams.com, click shop, and pre-order your copy right now. Very, very limited amount of physical copies. You want a physical book, trust me. That's all I got for you right now. We're going to come back next week with another heater. I appreciate everybody. Zo What Morning Show, T Radio V. That's Radio NTV. We out. Holla next week.